Argentina's squad for Rugby World Cup 2019. I'm actually doing this one a little bit ahead of schedule. The squad's just been named, I think, yesterday. I should be doing a video on Italy and Fiji as their squads have both been out earlier than the Argentina one. But this one, in terms of the selections, caught me a little bit more so by surprise. So I figure I will go over the squad and you guys can let me know your thoughts. Some of the omissions. The guys who didn't make the squad are pretty interesting for mine. So we'll have a look at the squad, and as I said, you guys can let me know your thoughts. It's 17 forwards and 14 backs to make up the 31-man squad. I start with the forwards. Props, and forgive me, the guys who've got the double-barreled surnames, I've just shortened them just for space on my whiteboard. But Tetes, Chaparro, Figalo, Medrano, Pietro, and Vivas are the props. So 5 props, which is pretty standard. I think the big name there that's missed out is Herrera, experienced player. But yeah, my camera's doing funny things. Couldn't make the cut. I guess Mario is showing faith in the Jaguares guys. The scrum has been a problem. Even with Figalo back, so they've got a very limited time to get it fixed, but these are the guys for the job. I'm pretty happy that Vivas is there. He's a youngster, but he's shown he's coming a long way really fast, so I'm hoping he gets some solid minutes at the World Cup. Probably the bench guy, but either way, I'm pretty happy he's there. I think he was probably always going to be there, but hookers, Crevi, Montoya, and Socino. Probably to be expected as well. Those 3 guys kind of pick themselves. I think most games it'll be Crevi starting with Montoya off the bench, but sometimes they will probably switch up with Socino being the 3rd guy. Is it Socino or Socino? You guys can let me know. Italian surnames. The locks. 3 specialist locks in Petty, Lavanini, although Petty can play in the back row as well, and Alemano. Again, I would probably assume it's going to be Petty and Lavanini starting. They complement each other very well, as some of you guys have pointed out in the comments. Petty is in the air one of the best players in world rugby. Lavanini is a workhorse player. He is a brutal player. His reputation for dirty play, I think, has kind of disappeared to a degree because he's really cleaned up his act and seems a bit more focused in the last couple of years anyway. Alemano, very useful guy off the bench. Loose forwards, Matera, who is the captain for the squad, has been one of the best players of the year. Lezana, Leguizamo, Crema, who can also fill in the second row if needs be. Ortega Decio, and Rodrigo Bruni. The big name that's missing there has to be Facundo Isa. He has not made the cut, which is very, very surprising for me. I did see a quote that was obviously translated from Spanish, but Mario Ledesma basically said, "I was convinced more by other players than Facundo Isa," which seems hard to believe. I feel like there must be something else going on because Isa is a quality player. So for him not to make it is pretty devastating. I mean, if you put in Matera, Crema, and one of the other guys, that's still pretty good, but Matera, Crema, and Isa still looks like my preferred selection. But hey, Mario is the boss for a reason, so I will leave it to him because he's a smarter man than me. But still, I'm very, very surprised about that. Lucas Paulos also didn't make it, but he's kind of... he was probably going to be a long shot anyway. He will be on injury reserve in case one of the locks go down. But the backs, Escura and Kobeli, are the 2 scrum halves, so just 2. They haven't taken a 3rd. So Landajo and Bertrano missed out. Bertrano is probably going to be feeling pretty unlucky, the fact that he spent most of the season off with injury. You feel like if he had a full season, he would probably almost definitely be on the plane. He's got to be the first call-up if something happens to one of the other 2. I think there's going to be a mix of squads who take 3 and who take 2 number 9s, but Mario has opted for 2. And I would say, as I said, Bertrano is probably the next guy in line if something happens. Nicolas Sanchez and Benjamin Urdupaleta are the fly halves. So there's no room for Diaz Bonilla, which is pretty disappointing, seeing as he was the guy pulling the strings for that Jaguares campaign in Super Rugby. He's not the most consistent player. He's a bit up and down, but I feel like over the course of the season he put in some really good efforts to boost his stocks in Argentinian rugby, but it has not been enough. Udo Paleta, I think, has only really played a couple of times for Argentina off the bench. Has he done enough to displace Bonilla? I'm not sure, but again, we'll go with Mario's call for that one. Domingo Miotti, perhaps a bit too young, but I think next World Cup he's probably going to be the guy. I guess we'll see. Sanchez didn't exactly set the world on fire when he came back for the Rugby Championship, but hopefully a bit more time with the team will get him back into the swing of things with the Argentinian guys. Midfielders and outside backs, Orlando, Moroni, Mensah makes the squad after only one performance for the Pumas, so he did pretty well to get in there. Malia, De La Fuente, Mojano, Delgui. Delgui is probably a fortunate one to be in. I'm very happy that he's in because I really rate him as a very good player. He's another one who spent most of the season off injured, so he, like Bertrano, probably could have been left out. But for whatever reason, Delgui is included and Bertrano is not. But Delgui is definitely an exciting player, so I'm very happy to see him there, even if it's probably partly there on reputation rather than recent form, just because he hasn't been playing apart from the Jaguares 15. So, yeah, still happy for him. Carreras is there, Tuculet is there, and Boffelli rounds things out. So, like Santiago Cordero, he didn't make it. Cancellieri didn't make it. But again, he's still, I think, pretty young. So they will have time to get back into the swing of things. But I mean, for Herrera, that's probably it for him. He'll probably retire from international rugby, I would imagine. Issa is on my mind. Him being cut does seem extraordinary. But again, there must be other things going on. Yeah, we will see how things go. I think for the Pumas, they're in a tough pool. France will probably bring a pretty big scrum, and England's scrummaging. If you look at their game against Wales the other day, they really pushed the Welsh around a bit, even though it wasn't the full Welsh front row, but still, the English are going to have a good scrum. So that's the one thing. If the Pumas get anything else right, it needs to be that. Like everything else to focus on, I think there's already pretty much there. Their backs are exciting. Their locks are very good. Their loose forwards are among some of the best in the world. Sanchez can be a world-class player. Kobeli's actually been in really fantastic form all year as well, but the scrum is not there. So it needs to raise, and if it can, there will be a threat. If it can't, they might go out in the pool, but I guess we'll wait and see. They're travelling to Sydney, I think, on August 30th is what I read, to continue with their preparations. They're going to play against an Australian club team in a friendly just as a warm-up, and then they're going to be heading to Japan on the 1st of September. So yeah, interesting squad. I feel for guys like Issa, Bonilla, Bertrano. Happy for guys like for Delgui for sure. But yeah, you guys let me know your thoughts on the squad. How do you think they are going to go? Do you also think the scrum is going to be a problem, or do you think they can excel in other areas that maybe will balance out if the scrum is poor? But yeah, you guys let me know your thoughts, and I will talk to you again soon. See you later.